This is one of my dreams to do as an artist is to create my own toy line, aka vinyl designer toys in the future. And so I thought this is a very interesting story called "The Toy That Earned the Street Artist Millions." And I do have another video like that of Pop Mart. So we'll look at that Pop Mart tomorrow on Friday. But let's check this out, guys. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know about this toy, right?
Stories. Musicians drop. Hey, you want to buy a toy? Not exactly the phrase you expect to hear from a millionaire artist, right? We've all heard the stories. Musicians dropping merch, influencers launching clothing lines, everyone and their mother trying to sell you something. But a graffiti artist making millions from toys? Yeah, in 2019, a single painting by this quote-unquote toy maker sold for $14.8 million. Not bad for someone who started out illegally painting over bus stop advertisements and train stations. While most artists were desperately trying to get their work into fancy galleries, this guy was doing something different. He wasn't interested in impressing art critics or climbing the traditional ladder. He was too busy building an empire, one vinyl figure at a time. This story doesn't start in some fancy art gallery or prestigious art school. It starts in Jersey City, 1974, with a kid named Brian Donnelly. While other kids are playing with toys, he's watching graffiti artists transform Gray City walls into colorful masterpieces. But young Brian isn't just watching, he's studying, learning, plotting. Fast forward to high school, while his classmates are doodling in their notebooks, Brian is already making his mark, literally. He creates a tag, kaws. Why kaws? Simply because he liked how the letters looked together. But here's the thing about teenage Brian. He wasn't content with just any wall. He wanted his tag where he could see it from his classroom window. So he did what any aspiring artist would do. He climbed up and painted it on a roof nearby.
Because back in the day when you're a graffiti artist, like the higher places you go, the more dangerous places you go, the more respect you got.
Day in class, he could look out and see his work. That's kaws for you. Always thinking about visibility, always playing.
Oh, I know that. Well, I kind of grew up with graffiti.
Then the 1990s hit and kaws moved to New York City. But this isn't your typical struggling artist in the big city story. By day, he's living every animation fan's dream, drawing backgrounds for shows like 101 Dalmatians, Daria, and Doug. Steady paycheck, creative work. Most people would be content, right? But at night, that's when things got
crazy, right? He was working for the
had
industry.
A secret weapon, a skeleton key, not just any key, but one gifted to him by fellow graffiti artist Barry McGee. This wasn't just a piece of metal; it was a key to the city itself. Bus shelters, phone booths, billboards. Suddenly, every advertisement in New York became a potential canvas. But he wasn't interested in just covering up ads with tags like other graffiti artists. He had a different vision.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance.
Because here's the one problem why a lot of graffiti artists or people who are trying to come up, a lot of them, even to this day, a lot of people don't want to create their own unique brand. A lot of people are doing what other people are doing. They're not doing something unique to them. And that's something that a lot of artists struggle. They could do like obviously original artwork, but there's certain things where like you just seen that style in other places, it's very hard to make something new. I struggle with that. I tried to do my own thing in so many ways, but it's like to do your own thing. And what I've learned by studying these artists, by the way, is you gotta have a signature to your art. It's gotta be certain things that tell, oh, this is a JonnyboiG art, right? And for me, one of the things that I do personally is there's a couple things, right? It's not the eyes. It's actually the white eyebrows, the high always postage. It's another thing. And also when I do the detail, which I'm not right now, I always hide a smile and a sad face within my art. Those are a few Easter eggs that I add in my art and almost the time to kind of distinguish my style to a lot of people to understand, oh, this is a JonnyboiG style, not the kanji, not the what everybody else uses, the medical tape thing. You know what I mean? Not those, not the like even like my own characters, like none of that, right? Because again, that is still like even though I'm doing my own thing, that's still like it could still how can people tell that's my art right away, right? Anybody can make a cat with a wearing a shark outfit. Anybody could do that, right? So that's why I always add certain things to make it to my own way. And like I said, like the biggest one of all of them is obviously the white eyebrows. I'm literally one of the only people that do white eyebrows. Why? I'm gonna be honest. I think it just looks cool. That's it. Like when you look at my other art pieces, when I add them, right? It doesn't make sense all the time to add them, but when I add them, it looks cool, right? Like so, here's this one. Here's the white eyebrows right here. Uh, here's the white eyebrows on Batman. Um, here are the white eyebrows on Saitama, that kind of thing. So it's always like there obviously are other things I'm like adding to my art style that makes, oh yeah, this is for sure a Johnny piece, a Johnny art style piece, right? Other than like the line work, the shading, color stuff like that. It's I just figured like I wanted something unique. Like with Kaws, what is unique about his art style, guys? It is the character, but it's something bigger than that. It's actually the skulls inside. That's how you know it's a Kaws piece, and also the way he makes his X's. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm a nerd on this, guys.
Calvin Klein models never looked quite like the same after Kaws got to them. Nothing was safe. But here's where it gets a little interesting. Instead of covering these ads with tags, he did something that would become
He
his signature
designed it.
move. He transformed them. Imagine walking
He designed around the ads, and that is a very smart thing to do because this shows companies potential product ways to showcase artwork of this to different products. It actually didn't make people mad. The companies actually got the companies to start thinking like, damn, this is a good way to kind of promote our products. Yeah, you see that? You see the skulls and the X's? That was a signature move of Kaws.
to work, seeing a familiar fashion advertisement, but wait, something's different. The model's eyes are now X's. There's a strange cartoon-like quality to their face, and yet it's somehow better than the original.
You like to do it here in Soho?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a lot more attractive people.
Yeah.
No, kidding. I mean, yeah, so
And he has his main character too, by the way, which is a very smart thing to do. And I've been wanting to do that, and I do that with my character Think of, which I add him everywhere. Obviously, he has a better way of marketing because he has a character that a lot of people replicate. When you have a character you could replicate, it's actually a good thing, not a bad thing, guys. Because if it's easier to remake, it's also easier to recognize. If that makes sense, right? But yeah, this is his character right here. You see how it's the skull, the two X's, and the skeletons on the side, like ears. That is his signature piece. The character sitting down. But it, even though it's the Mickey Mouse out, is, by the way, this is Mickey Mouse. If you guys didn't know, the body that he decided to go with something simplistic. It was Mickey Mouse. That's it. And he recently did figurines for that show Squid Games. And there you go. He has other characters here and there, like the bubble guy body kind of thing, which is like the tire guy. I forgot his name. But yeah, that is his signature. Is pretty much you recognize his art piece, not fully for the body, but for the head and the skull bones on the side. So yes, two things in my opinion. The skull face, one thing for sure, kinda, but it's for sure from to me that always stands out to for me that is his artwork for sure. It's the two X's on eyes, obviously, and the skulls on the side, like ears, right? Obviously, he has iconic poses here and there. Don't get me wrong. There's more than that too. There's way more than that. But when you look at fan art, he does the skull face, and he also has the X's. See? I know this is a fan art one, by the way, because you can tell by like the line work. But but yeah, when he does fan art, you can see like, oh, he always adds those two things, right? He adds the X's and the skull, or you could say the skeleton face too as well. Um, but yeah, here we go. Here's the perfect one, like the new one, right? It's like simplistic style right here, but it's always the skull, X's, and the two. So it's actually 3 things that makes him him. 3 things.
It's fun. It's a good change up from my
I
neighborhood.
only have 2 things.
So
The
I mean,
eyebrows
as you can see, it's a lot more crowd.
and
It's a lot
the
more
tag
people see
says
it every
hi
day.
all the time.
And I
That's
feel
all.
like a lot of the people that come down
For
here
me personally, I
are here
have
to
2
see art
things.
anyway.
You could say maybe the X right here with the
That
tongue coming
was
out.
Kaws'
That's maybe 3
genius.
things.
Some people
but-
would say that he was destroying these ads, but the truth is, he was transforming them, making them his own, creating art that stopped people in their
was
tracks,
unique and
turning
it got
them
people's
into his
attention.
own art gallery on the streets. Word started spreading. People began looking forward to seeing which advertisement Kaws would hit next. His work wasn't hidden away in some alley. It was right there on Main Street, in your face, impossible to
Told you.
ignore. Paris, he hit it. London, tagged it. Berlin, done. Tokyo, you better believe it. Each city became another chapter in the Kaws story. Each modified advertisements, another piece in his growing puzzle. But Kaws wasn't just about making noise in the street art scene. He started noticing something about the art world. It was too exclusive, too wrapped up in its own importance. The average person couldn't afford to own real art. That's when he had his $1 million idea, or should we say his $20 idea that will lead to millions.
Guess what? You can
Yeah,
bring
now
your
they're
phone to
expensive
Metro
as
and
fuck
get one
now.
line with unlimited 5G for 25
Not all
bucks
figures
a
are
month.
expensive, by the way. Oh, there's some affordable
He
ones.
was tired of the underground side of the art world. He was thinking bigger, way bigger. And it all started with a toy. 1999, Tokyo. While Western artists were still trying to figure out how to sell paintings, Kaws was sitting in a meeting with a bounty hunter, a Japanese clothing brand that was about to change everything. But what made it different was he wasn't there to design t-shirts. He was there to talk about toys. Not just any toys though. Vinyl figures. See, Kaws understood something about Japan that most Western artists missed. In Japan, toys weren't just for kids. They were art, fashion, culture. His pitch? Take Mickey Mouse, arguably the most recognized character in the world, and give him the Kaws treatment. Grade out. Add those signature X eyes. Throw in some
Told you.
crossbones. Make it look like Mickey has seen things that changed him forever. They called it Companion. The first run was modest, just a limited edition of vinyl figures.
If you
But
could
here's
find
where
those,
Kaws
oh my
street art
God.
psychology kicked in. Remember those bus shelter ads he used to hit? He applied the same principle. Take something familiar, twist it just enough to make people look twice, and put it where they can't ignore it. The price point, $100.
That's why it was fucking genius, because he took the Mickey Mouse outfit, which is iconic, but just put his own thing.
Expensive enough to feel special, cheap enough that a teenager could save up for it. This wasn't just a product launch. It was art, monopoly, and action. The toys sold out instantly, but that wasn't the interesting part. The interesting part was what happened next. Those $100 toys, they started showing up on eBay for $200, then $500, then $1,000. Kaws had
yeah.
accidentally, or maybe not so accidentally, created something new. Accessible art that could become an investment. So while the art world was busy being exclusive, Kaws was making art you could hold in your hands. Art you could own without being a millionaire. Art that spoke to kids who grew up watching cartoons. He was building an army of collectors. But Kaws wasn't done, not even close. The first companion was just the beginning. The Simpsons became the Kimpsons. SpongeBob got the X-Oz treatment as well. Even the Smurfs weren't safe. Next came collaborations with Japanese streetwear legend Nego for a bathing ape. Then Medicom toy. Then Fantastic. Each release more limited than the last. Each one selling out faster than the one before. Each character Kaws touch became part of his universe. A universe where familiar faces got twisted just enough to make you look twice. It was like he was speaking a language everyone somehow understood. Part
But the
nostalgia,
recognizable
part street
stuff.
art,
Yo, what
part
up,
high-end
Buttercup?
design. In 2006,
Oh my God,
he
Buttercup.
opened Original
Are you high?
Fake, a
Are
store
you
in
awake?
Tokyo. Think about that. For a second, a graffiti artist from Jersey City now had his own boutique in one of Tokyo's most expensive neighborhoods.
crazy,
By
dude.
that time, Kaws wasn't just a street artist anymore. He was collaborating with everyone. Uniqlo, Nike, Dior, major brands were just lining up. But here's the genius part. Whether it was a $20 shirt or a $2 million sculpture, everything felt connected. And that's the key I want you guys to get here. Everything felt like Kaws. Let's talk numbers for a second. That companion toy that started it all, original versions now sell for thousands. His
Yes.
sculptures, they've gone for millions. In 2019, the Kaws album, a painting that reimagined The Simpsons parodying the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album cover, sold for a wild 14.7 million
God
in Hong
damn,
Kong. That's
dude.
about 147,000 of his original companion toys, if you're keeping count. And
Dude
the
was just
hits
very
kept
smart.
coming. Untitled Kimpson's number 1, 7.4 million. The Walk Home, featuring a terrified SpongeBob, 6 million. In the Woods, his Swiss.
Look at this. It's literally a copy paste of SpongeBob, and it's sold for 6 million. It's just a copy paste. All he added to make it new is you can kind of say the shoes, but he just added the X's. That's it. And you just trace over the hand over and over and over again.
Terrified SpongeBob, 6 million. In the Woods, his twisted take on Snow White, 3.9.
And by the way, guys, all this is traced. Well, it seems traced. Because it's exactly the same image of Snow White. What did he change? He made a contrast of black and white and add X's to almost every single character.
Million. On the Way, where Tom and Jerry get the course treatment, 3 million.
Also, it was nice catching you live. Have fun with the. Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Productions. Thank you.
I get the picture. So while these toys were flying off shelves, something else was happening. The art world started paying attention. Kaws was not just selling toys. The man was building a brand. Each collaboration, each limited edition release was like a breadcrumb leading back to his other work. Galleries that wouldn't have given him the time of day were now calling. Collectors who bought his toys started looking at his paintings. The average value of Kaws prints has been growing steadily, about 3% year over year. We're talking about an average price of around $13,000 per print. The toy that started as a $100 experiment had spawned an empire. But more importantly, it had done something unprecedented. It had built a bridge between street art and high art, between toys and fine art galleries, between $100 collectibles
Which a lot of artists do that now.
paintings. Kaws had pulled off the impossible. He made art collecting accessible to everyone, while simultaneously making his art more valuable than ever. Think about it. In what universe does a street artist who make toys end up having his work displayed next to Picasso? In what world does a guy who started by defacing advertisements get commissioned by MTV to redesign their Moon Man trophy? Kaws universe, that's where. He had essentially created his own art market ladder. At the bottom rung, you had the
Because he made his art very easily accessible. That could be very uniquely added. Like a unique ad, pretty much, because it turns people's heads like, oh, what is that? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Toys and the merchandise accessible to almost anyone. Then came the prints, then the smaller original pieces, and at the top, of course, those $1 million paintings and sculptures. Today, Kaws is more than an artist. Again, he's a brand, a movement, a blueprint for how art can evolve in the 21st century. His work hangs in major museums and sit on teenagers' desks. He's collaborated with everyone under the sun, even his character that he even created flowed through the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it all started with a kid from Jersey City who looked at an advertisement and thought, I could make this better. This is what happens when street art meets smart business. When a toy becomes much more than just a toy. When underground goes mainstream and quote unquote sells out. By the way, YouTube says if you enjoyed this video, then you might want to check this one out next. This is Lee from Norff Studios. Next time, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I like the video, man. Like I tell you, it's like sometimes simplistic ideas can take
Hey,
you
you
so
want to buy
far.
a toy?
That's what something I've been trying to figure out for myself. It's like, what's something simplistic I could do for myself, for my art, that could make it stand out for the rest of the crowd. And so that's why I created the adventure series. The adventure series is based on animals of any kind, really, which I started with penguins, now I'm doing cats. I already got ideas for frogs, but that's the future idea. But what is something I do with every single art piece that I do is add something very familiar, aka the high tag and also the white eyebrows, either big or small, or white eyebrows. So there's certain things I add in almost every single art piece to make it uniquely, but also familiar with what I do. So that's what I created the adventure series. Now, I still use some of those in my Think of series, obviously, but like, yeah, they're like their own thing, but they have some familiarity with each other. So yeah, as a designer, please don't interpret Kaws' story as common. It's very difficult to do. He does without a financial boost, like a random millionaire that was at the right place at the right time. 100%. Yeah, I mean, obviously, but like I think what a lot of people should take this should take this from this video is that if you do something uniquely, something that you could replicate on almost every single art piece, but doesn't take over the art piece, right? Figure that out. Figure something out uniquely about you, pretty much. Making those designer figures isn't cheap. Usually you want to guarantee they're gonna sell before you even put a manufacturer order on. I say keep on doing what you love, but just keep your feet on the ground. Yeah, I get what he's saying, but yeah. He became everything he didn't like about the artwork, a sellout. I mean, that's an argument for sure, but it's like it is what it is, man. Being a video like always, best thing about living in Detroit, getting to see the 17 Calls companion statue downtown. It is a great character, even like it's not copyright infringement, I believe, because it's changed enough where they can't like sue him. Kind of copyright infringement. He probably got like the most successful graphic artist in history commercially. Saw the community about him and he watched how he climbed up to the success ladder. They remember seeing his piece in the 90s, in freight trains, billboards, etc. Graffiti writer too. Also watched his rise to designer to the toy industry as it became more and more popular. I walked into a store in Chicago in a mall of a friend of mine owns, asked how much cost figures. He told me $1,000. I was floored. Then watching a little interview with Alicia Keys and Sweet Speeds on their home, they showed a 12 by 14 foot tall sculptured piece of cause in their home. I wonder how much a percentage does he get from each of these pieces sold. His marketing strategies and executed to a point this came out. Yep, he was a great strategist. And the biggest thing, like I said before in this video, is being familiar with the signature of his art pieces. And with him was the face. There's a skull too, more I saw. Skull, excess, uh, bones on the side. That is his signature. 100%.